Hey, good afternoon. Pete, North Las Vegas. I finally got around to getting my Dillon RT1500 electric trimmer set up for sizing and trimming brass. And what I discovered on the vacuum hose adapter, this is 1.25 inches, is I had an old brand new upper radiator hose laying around for a 97 Chevrolet pickup truck, 5.7 liter Vortec engine. And this is the upper radiator hose. And it fits really nice and snug up here. Not so much that you can't get it off, and but it's not really loose either. And it has a nice fit down here. So this isn't the entire hose off the engine. I trimmed it to get it to where I wanted it. But this thing works out really nice. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where the guys are setting up their vacuum adapters, and they've got all different kinds of sizes and couplers and zip ties and radiator clamps and a lot of stuff going on trying to get their vacuum hooked up. But yeah, this worked out great for me. An old Chevrolet V8 top radiator hose. Like I said, it was brand new laying around. I sold the truck quite some time ago and I never got around to putting this on. And I thought, man, I wonder if that hose fits. And sure enough, it did. So anyway, got this Chinese Craftsman 1.25 inches. Seems to be working pretty good though. So anyway, I've got my brass lubed up, and this has all been cleaned and deprimed. So I'm running it on the trimmer, and it's coming in like perfect. Every piece of brass that I've trimmed so far, it's been very consistent, and it's coming in right at the recommended trim length of 1.750. So I'll see if I can measure. I'll just grab this one. It's random, and we'll see if it comes in at 1.750, like pretty much like right on the money. And they're all like that. And I found that for me, the best way to get a consistent trim length is as I operate the press and I start to get some sizing resistance, and then you'll get a little bit more resistance, and that's when you're getting the final size on the die. And when I start feeling that, I'll slow down and approach the cutter head on the trimmer kind of slow, and then I'll leave it there for like a second or two. And that seems to be giving me a very consistent trim length across all the brass. My first 10 pieces, I would say I was fluctuating about 5/10,000 to 1,000th until I got my technique down. And now I can get all these trimmed exactly the same. So also the Dillon full length sizing die, let me clean that up. It's been coming out size-wise just perfect. So there's my Sheridan, and they're all being sized just perfect. And this is a combination chamber gauge and head spacing. So that's one of the nice things about the Sheridan, is it does both. And if you have a fully loaded round, it'll give you the maximum length also. So you can gauge your entire round. So I think, me personally, I think this is one of the better gauges on the market. Okay, so we'll turn the motor on. I'm going to leave the vacuum off because this thing is noisy. And I'll just kind of show you my technique on how I'm getting a really good trim length. So we'll turn the motor on. Okay, so you can probably hear the motor. And like I was saying a little bit earlier, when I come down on the lever and run the brass up into the press, I'm starting to get a little bit of resistance, and there's my final resistance. That's the final sizing part of the die. And from this point on, I'm going to go really slow and approach the cutter head nice and even. And I don't know if you can hear that, but I've only been leaving it up there for a second or two. And so anyway, that's how I've been getting my my trim length, just like perfect. So anyway, I just thought I'd share my own personal experience with this. I'm very happy with it. I will never trim manually a piece of brass again unless I just absolutely have to. And underneath that vacuum, I've got about another 4,000 to 5,000 pieces of brass to size and trim. Now, after I get all this stuff trimmed, we're not quite done. Because I'm using an electric trimmer, I still have to come in and size the neck. which is why I have this Ellie Wilson mandrel. And this is going to size the neck. And I talked about this mandrel in another video, but I measured this thing with a calibrated 1/10,000th micrometer, and this thing was right on the money. It was right at 223. So Ellie Wilson makes these 1,000th above your actual desired sizing of 222, which will give you 2,000ths on a 224 bullet, because they take spring back of the brass into consideration. So they're expanding the neck here to 223, and then after you pull the mandrel out, the brass will spring back to about 222 or 221, and about 5/10,000ths is what I was able to get. So that was what I wanted this mandrel to do, was give me about a 2 to 3,000ths neck tension consistent on each piece of brass. And on my bench testing on the other video, it worked very well. So once I get all this brass neck sized, we'll get this stuff cleaned up one last time and get it loaded up. All right, Pete, North Las Vegas, over and out.